Hi, happy Friday. I hope you're having a great day so far. It is Friday, December 11th. It's the 11th day of December, and we've got two really great books to look at today. This first one is called Franklin is Bossy, and it's about Franklin the Turtle right there. This is a great book. Franklin the Turtle could zip zippers and button buttons. He could count by twos and tie his shoes. He had lots of friends and one best friend named Bear. They played tag and marbles, hopscotch and ball. But one day something awful happened. Franklin and Bear had an argument. It was a steamy summer morning. Franklin told his friends, "Let's play marbles," and they did. After a while, Franklin said, "I'm tired of marbles. Let's have a race." "You always picked the games," grumbled Bear. Franklin paid no attention. They started to run. Bear was in the lead. Goose followed close behind. Franklin saw that he was losing and cried out. I wonder what Franklin said. There he is right there last. He said, "Slowest one wins," as he crawled across the finish line last. "That's not fair," said Bear. Franklin ignored him. "I'm tired of running. Let's play baseball." So you see, he's crossed the finish line last. Bear did not put on his mitt. He did not put on his cap. He was mad. "It's too hot. I don't want to play," said Bear. "Me neither," said Beaver. "It's not too hot," said Franklin. "It is too hot," said Bear. "Is not," said Franklin. "I don't want to play with you," Franklin shouted Bear. "And I don't want to play with you either," Franklin shouted back. Oh no, they're having an argument. That's not good. Franklin stomped all the way home. "What's wrong?" asked his father. "There's no one to play with," answered Franklin. "Maybe your friends will come by later," said Franklin's father. "Maybe," he said. There's his father right there. In his room, Franklin built a castle. He made a cape to be brave in, and he made shields and swords and suits of armor. He drew pictures, he played house, he read stories. He played by himself for one whole hour, and then he didn't know what to do. So Franklin went looking for company. His friends were in the river cooling off. "Are you still hot?" he asked. "No," they answered. "Then let's play ball," said Franklin. Before anyone had a chance to say a word, Franklin started giving orders. "Bear, you play first base. Goose and Beaver, you go to the outfield. I'll be the pitcher." "No way," shouted Bear. "I don't want to play with you. You are too bossy." All of Franklin's friends nodded. "Bear's right," they said. Franklin turned his back and went home. Oh no. There was no one to play with and nothing much to do, so he helped his father all afternoon. They weeded the garden and washed the floors, and they made supper for Mole because he was sick. "You're a good friend," Mole told Franklin's father. On the way home, Franklin asked, "Do you and Mole have arguments?" "Sometimes," said Franklin's father, "but we always make up." Franklin played alone for another whole day. He missed Bear and all of his friends, and he had lots of time to think. He would go to Bear and apologize. Franklin and Bear met on the bridge. "I was going to your house," said Franklin. "And I was going to your house," said Bear. "I'm sorry," said Franklin. "It was all my fault." "No, it was my fault," said Bear. "Mine," said Franklin. "No, mine," said Bear. "Stop!" shouted Beaver, who was listening under the bridge. "This is silly." Beaver slapped her tail so hard that Franklin and Bear jumped. They started to giggle. Friends? Asked Franklin. Friends, said Bear. Beaver wanted to play baseball. Bear and Goose and Duck agreed. They were picking teams when Franklin insisted on being the pitcher again. All together, his friends shouted, "No fair, Franklin." Franklin knew they were right. He couldn't always be pitcher. It was his turn to play in the outfield. And it wasn't so bad, for although Franklin didn't catch a single ball, he did catch lots of flies. That was a fun book. That was called Franklin is Bossy. This next book I want to look at with you all is called The Ring Bearer. It says, Mama is having a wedding and Jackson is worried. What will it be like to call Bill Dad and share stuff with Sophie, his new little sister? Things won't be the same around here anymore. Jackson had an important job at the wedding and he's not sure he can do it. Jackson's job is to take care of the rings. Bill walks by, pinching his hanky at the middle. He lifts it, flips it, and folds it into his top pocket to sit like a pet bird. Jackson giggles, but he's still nervous. Mama's having a wedding, and Jackson has to carry the rings down the aisle. Why the droopy shoulders? Bill asks after he lifts Jackson high and makes him tall. See him right there. Jackson smiles on Bill's shoulders, but inside he thinks, Mama's having a wedding and I have to carry the rings, but I don't want to trip in front of everyone and mess it all up. Maybe Bill should carry the rings. Tall Jackson walks over to little Sophie, who is busy counting flowers. Sophie has an important job too. She has to carry the flowers. Grandpop helps them practice and shows them how to walk down the aisle slow and steady. That way you won't trip. Grandpop says that he likes it. He knows just what's in Jackson's heart. But Jackson is worried anyway. So Grandpop says he knows what it feels like. The music starts and Sophie takes off. Grandpop nudges Jackson to get him going too. Jackson walks slow and steady while Sophie skips ahead, ignoring Grandpop's advice. Mama's having a wedding and Jackson has an important job to do. And no matter what Sophie does, he will not trip down the aisle. Jackson sees Sophie coming to a step, but Sophie only sees her flowers. Oh no! Jackson rushes to Sophie's just as she trips on the step and catches her before she falls. Jackson looks at Grandpop. Grandpop cheers. Mama and Bill cheer too. The whole wedding cheers. They're all cheering for Jackson. Sophie smiles at Jackson's hand. They walk together, slow and steady, the rest of the way. Sophie stands next to her dad. Jackson waits for his mama, who is coming down the aisle now, while with Grandpa by her side, looking like the prettiest lady in the whole church. Jackson sneaks a peek at Sophie, making sure she is still okay. When Mama gets to the end of the aisle, she bends down next to Jackson. You're a great big brother, Jack, she whispered. Sophie is lucky to have you around. Looking at Mama and Sophie and Bill and Grandpa, Jackson is not worried anymore. He's not nervous when he reaches into his pocket for the rings. He's not nervous when he gives them to Mama and Bill. And when the preacher finally says they're all a family now, Jackson knows deep in his heart that he doesn't have to be so nervous about important jobs. And he definitely doesn't have to be nervous about being a big brother. Mama got married and Jackson handled his job just right. That was a great book. That was called The Ring Bearer. Well, I hope you have a great Friday today and a great weekend, and I'll see you again Monday. Bye, friends.